everyone. Thank you for joining me again today for the Finding Hope After Loss podcast. Today, I am talking with Dr. Salena Smith. She is the founder of the Inner Ear Trauma Informed Agency. She was an educator for over 15 years before going into practice on her own. Now she uses her voice and research to brief educators on policy recommendations to help advocate for teachers to be adequately trained to support students that have been exposed to adverse childhood experiences. She also has her own podcast called Teaching Through the Eyes of Trauma. The focus is engaging and empowering educators with trauma-informed tools and strategies. So today she is talking about her own experience going through infertility. She is going to talk about her 4 surgeries she had for her fibroids, going through IVF, and going through various other treatments. So hello everyone. Today I'm here with Dr. Salena Smith. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello. So I am Dr. Salena Smith. I have been married for 14 years. And I used to be a teacher. So I was an educator for 16 years, an administrator in the elementary school. And now I started my own educational consulting firm. So I just recently left the school system to go out on my own.
Well, that sounds super exciting.
Thank you.
A new adventure.
Yes. I needed something new.
So are you liking it so far?
I am. I'm loving it. I'm loving the lack of stress. And just the freedom to be able to move how I want to move, and have a work-life balance that I didn't necessarily have before.
Right. Yeah, those are all really nice things to have. So can you talk a little bit about your infertility journey?
Absolutely. So I got married, I say young, but I got married around 26. And so the first thing that people say is when y'all going to have kids. And I was always the one that said, I like to travel. I like to shop. I'm not about to have kids right now. I want to wait at least 2 years so that we can enjoy each other as, husband and wife before we are engaging as mother and father. And so after 2 years, I was like, okay, I'm ready. Let's start trying to have children, and nothing happened. And then 4 years went by and nothing happened. And then 6 years went by and nothing happened. And then I began to wonder, like, what did I curse myself by saying, I didn't want to have kids right away? And then people started interacting with me as though I didn't have kids because I wanted to shop or because I wanted to travel, because I said that, early on in my marriage. And so I tried everything. I've done IVF cycles. I've done the IUI. I've had multiple surgeries. So I have fibroids, and I've had 4 surgeries to remove the fibroids, but they keep coming back. And so that's part of my infertility journey. And because of the surgeries, I had scar tissue on a tube, and so they removed one of my tubes. And so now I have 1 tube dealing with the fibroids, trying to do IVF. It's just a lot of things. And instead of getting the empathy from people, it's more like she doesn't have kids because she wants to shop. Like, you have a life that you should want to have children to be able to, pour into your own kids. And you're an administrator, you're a teacher, you have all of these kids that you're pouring into at the schools, but you won't pour into your own kids. And it's just not the case. It's just really, I'm trying, but nothing has happened yet.
It's one of those things that people really just need to mind their business. Stop asking these kind of questions, because,
Right.
We never know what people are going through. And people wouldn't know that just from looking at a person that, maybe they are trying like you are, and it's just not so easy for everybody.
Absolutely.
Has it been hard to go through all the surgeries and the treatments? And
it has, but each time I try to remind myself this is just one step closer to getting where you want to be. And then when something else happens, it becomes like, oh my gosh, like another surgery, another this, another that. And to me, it's like, if I have another surgery, is it going to cause more scar tissue? And so it becomes this mind game of, do I do it or do I not? What's the best choice? And it becomes stressful. It's absolutely extremely stressful, even to the point where every month, when you have your cycle, it's really like you go through the 5 stages of grief. You get to the denial and the anger and the depression and then the acceptance. And I have to go through that every month when my cycle comes. And it's like, okay, I can't keep going through this. I have to either change the way I look at this, or I have to figure out something else out, because it's not healthy for me mentally, emotionally, but also for my marriage, because I mean, he still has to go through those things with me as well. And so it's tough. It's really a tough space to be in.
Do you have supportive people in your life that you can talk to about it or anything like that?
I do. I have, I still have my parents. I have my parents and I have 3 siblings. And so they're extremely supportive. I have friends who are supportive, but sometimes you don't realize. I saw a painting, a Van Gogh painting. It was called "The Fire Within Inside," and so people don't really realize the amount of depression and stress on the inside, because we fake it, and we're smiling, and we go to the baby showers of family members, and we go to the different things, but I don't really think they know to my core how hard it is. They can only, what I'm saying, they can only sympathize with me for what I let them experience, basically. And so I think they are supportive, but it's a tough space to be in. It's a tough space to be in, because you go through the shame and then the guilt, when you see others who are flourishing in their motherhood, and you want that, and then I'm sad and I'm ashamed that I'm even feeling guilty. You know what I mean? I'm not even I don't want to say jealous, but it's like you want those things as well. And so I feel guilty for wanting that, when I should be celebrating others.
It's hard. I mean, we went through infertility too, not IVF, but I have PCOS, and we had to go through some fertility treatments as well. And I know exactly the feeling, that you talk about. I mean, and for me personally, it probably was a little bit of jealousy too, you know, but it's like, oh, I should be happy for them. But you're like you said, I want that so bad. And it's hard to see it happen to everybody else. And you're like, okay, but when's my turn? you know?
Absolutely.
So why do you
Absolutely.
think it's important to share your story and to talk about your journey?
I really think that my journey, hopefully ending in, me becoming a mother, would be medicine for somebody else who's actually going through it, right? And so I think showing them, like, if you have faith that this will happen, and it will happen when it's supposed to, will help some other people. So I strictly share my story so that people have faith that it doesn't have to be all bad, all doom and gloom, all sadness and darkness, because I've had a lot of happy moments in between this time. And so a lot of times I reflect and I tell my husband, like, we wouldn't be able to travel the way we travel if we had kids right now. I wouldn't have been able to quit my job to start a new adventure if I had kids. I would not have had the courage to quit, my job when I have children. I would not have gone back to school to get my doctorate. So there's some things that have happened that are happy times in between this waiting season. And so I really think that me sharing my story helps people to understand that it will happen in God's timing. You know, and I think that once it does happen, I'll look back and understand why the time period.
That's a really good perspective to take, I think. It's really hard to not get sucked up into all of the negatives,
Mhm.
and I think it's really important to, continue to find those happy moments and keep the hope alive.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what keeps me going, is the faith.
Do you have any like particular aspects about infertility that you think need to be talked about more?
Um, Really, I think it's all hard. I think it's all a journey, and it's just different people have different journeys towards, infertility and outcomes. And a lot of times people tell you, don't think about it. When you don't think about it is when it's going to happen. And I don't think that that is beneficial to tell people, because what does that look like, right? And so I think with infertility, just helping people to see that there is some kind of resolve that will happen, instead of the always trying to give advice as far as, like, don't think about it, or adopt, because as soon as you adopt, you'll get pregnant. Like, I keep hearing those things. And even though we've tried adoption and that didn't work either. And so I really just think that giving people grace with infertility, and allowing them to go through their process the way they see fit and just being there. Like, you don't always have to say anything. Just being there and being a support, I think, is the best thing for a person who's going through infertility.
I agree with that. I mean, I think, like you mentioned, the insensitive comments, everybody wants to give their advice. So, oh, my friend tried this and that worked, or, just relax, or, all those other things. And I agree that I think we need to be able to just process what we're going through without judgment and without, unwanted advice.
Absolutely.
So do you have, I mean, it kind of goes along the lines of what you were talking about, but do you have any advice for people that are going through infertility?
Yes, I would say get you a good support team, support system, because you cannot go through this alone. This is not a journey that you can take alone, even if you are someone who wants to be the sole responsible person for your child. You need a support system. So I would say absolutely get you a support system. And I'm a woman of faith, and so journaling is what I think helps also, like, just to have an outlet. And so I also have a journal on Amazon called Faith Over Infertility, or Faith Through Infertility, which is coming out. And it's just a guided prayer journal to help people to understand that you are not alone, but there is some type of I believe in there's God is there. Somebody is there. Have you someone in your, even if you don't believe in God, have you a support system or an outlet to where you can get through this journey and be able to have space to grieve if you need to, but also to say that what's for me is for me, and it will come in due time.
So your journal is out now, or it's coming out?
It's coming out today, actually.
Oh, that's exciting. I'll definitely have to go check that out. And I'm sorry, what was the name one more time?
Faith Through Infertility.
Faith Through Infertility. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely going to check that out.
Thank you.
Do you have anything else that you'd like to share about going through infertility, or just about anything in general?
I would just say it's coming. In due time, it's coming. Have faith through this journey. Enjoy the journey. And I think that once you see your child, once you see your baby, I think it will all be worth it. When you look back, it will all be worth it. And so I say just keep the faith and keep moving towards your end goal, which is ultimately be motherhood.
Do you have any resources that helped you, especially like when going through infertility, any like websites or groups or anything that helped you?
Yes, so I'm a part of multiple support groups on Facebook. One in particular that I'm on is Waiting for Baby Bird. It's been extremely helpful. And there's another one called Grace's Journey, I believe. It's just I'm I get a wealth of knowledge from those groups because it's extremely helpful. So I would say any support group will help. And that's what I go through. And then also just having a group of friends that I talk to, because I have another group of friends who we're all trying to be mothers. And so we meet up and talk daily too. So support system is absolutely imperative.
I love that you have that group that you can turn to as well. And, they all know exactly what you're going through because they're all trying to achieve the same thing. And I think it's important to surround ourselves with good people like that, like you said.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about, or?
No, not particularly.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you giving me the space to talk about my journey.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I think it's so important to talk about the fact that so many people make those judgy comments about when are you going to have kids, or why aren't you trying for kids? Why don't you have kids already? Again, those of us who have gone through infertility, we already feel like a failure as it is sometimes. Like, why can't our bodies just do one of the main things that it's supposed to be able to do, that everybody else seems able to do so easily? You just never know what others have gone through or what they're currently going through. As so many of you know, going through infertility isn't something that's just easily fixed by relaxing or not trying or doing that one thing your friend did, or going on vacation. Many couples are trying everything possible to get pregnant, spending all their financial resources just for that chance that other couples just get for free every month. And then expending so much emotional energy and going through a lot physically during the treatments. I just really don't think some people understand just how much some people have to go through to just get that chance of getting pregnant. And many times they have to go through multiple rounds and a lot of heartbreak. So basically, all of this to say again, we don't know what people are going through. So this is your reminder. Let's just all be kind, and let's just all just try to be supportive. Please don't make the insensitive comments. Don't ask people when they're going to have kids. Don't ask why they aren't trying yet. Don't ask any questions about that. You just don't know the kind of grief and sadness that you are sometimes bringing up by asking these questions. And I don't think that people are trying to be insensitive when they ask. I think they're genuinely, curious, or these are just questions that have become ingrained as, questions you ask people. But I think a lot of people also just don't understand how hurtful that they can be without meaning to be. People will share when they're ready, if they want to share at all. And just remember, a little understanding can really go a long way. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and remember, we are all in this together.